It's been a while since Season 4 of Black Mirror was released, and the release date for Season 5 still has not been announced. So I thought I'd talk about what I think the best episode of Black Mirror is, and why it deserves to be at the top spot. There are 19 episodes of the show now, all standalone episodes which all have their own weird, messed up story, but you still slightly believe that it's all going to happen, and believe that it's the direction in which the future is heading. With the individual messages that every single episode conveys, it leaves you wondering just how bleak the future is. They're all strong contenders, minus one. I find myself constantly asking the question, what is the best episode of Black Mirror? Although opinions change a lot of the time due to the fact that the show is just that good, and the episodes are that different, there is always one that stands above all others. Well, what is it? Let's find out. Before I go ahead, make sure you go over to my Twitter @BrainPilot_ and drop me a follow. So without further ado, I'm BrainPilot, and here is the best episode of Black Mirror. The best episode of Black Mirror is Season 1, Episode 3, The Entire History of You. Whilst my opinions on a lot of the episodes have changed quite a bit, this episode has always stayed within the top rankings on my previous lists, and now it has well and truly positioned itself at number 1 on the list. The original episodes of Black Mirror, I feel, tend to stand out more when compared to any of Season 4, for example. Back in 2011, the show was original and the only thing like that out on television. Although it still is original and the only program that goes in that direction, I feel as though the urgency from Netflix and its aim to always make money off a show as fast as possible is a problem that I hope Black Mirror doesn't get. The episodes that Charlie creates are extremely intelligent looks at society, technology, and the way in which the world has the potential to be. It takes a meticulous thought process and skill of writing to be able to come up with the brilliant ideas that we see. That was my main issue with most of the episodes in Season 4. USS Callister and Metalhead were the best in the season, but they wouldn't compare on a full ranking. The episode. The episode itself follows the life of the main character Liam and his wife. It is essentially the story of a dysfunctional relationship and a man's paranoia being confirmed by the technology that they have. If this episode was part of a normal show, then yes, it would most likely be boring. However, there is one differentiating factor. By incorporating the technology which is known as the Grain, it makes it all the more enjoyable to watch. With a perfect runtime of 49 minutes, you go on a journey that doesn't drag, doesn't feel too long, and allows you to connect and side with the main character in the best way possible for the audience, compared to Hated in the Nation or the Waldo moment. One of the first things that you see in the episode is him in a taxi watching his interview back and picking out every look that was given to him, and thinking the worst about it. When people go for interviews, normally this is a common feeling, so the fact that there is a piece of technology that records your everyday life and plays it back to you shows you how it would be used in society when you normally wish that you could relive every moment again. I also love the security check in the airport that he has to go through, where they're able to see everything that you've seen prior to getting on the plane. Charlie did a good job in building the world and not only making the characters and the technology believable, he made the world believable. This is something that I feel as though he didn't manage to do that well in the episode Crocodile, for instance. The characters, for example, I didn't feel as though I formed any emotional attachment to, even the insurance worker who I was supposed to be rooting for, and even the technology. It was good, but it felt underdeveloped and not as far forward as what the episode was. An argument could be made that maybe in Crocodile the technology had recently been introduced and they couldn't just stream it across. But still, it felt slow and not that interesting. Obviously, at the end of the episode, the main character's fears are confirmed when he finds out that his wife has been cheating on him, and all of this was revealed by the use of the Grain. This then results in his family leaving and him ripping the technology out of his head. His perfect house and his perfect family aren't so perfect anymore. As I always say, the use in colour is amazing within this episode as well. The way that the episode is colourful all throughout, it's very bright. The last few minutes where he is walking through the house in present day, the contrast is incredible. The mood is represented amazingly, even down to the t-shirt that he's wearing. You really do get a feel that the world he lived in and loved is crumbling down, and he doesn't seem to blame his wife as much. He blames the Grain for the realization. The thought of being able to relive all of your memories in real time and watch them back surely is something that would make anybody sad when thinking back on how good times used to be and wishing that you could have what once was. That is why he pulls it out. What this episode has that puts it above many others in the entire series of Black Mirror is just how much you can believe that this is happening, or will happen in the next few years. It doesn't show you an afterlife like San Junipero, or soldiers being brainwashed, although I do love the plot and message behind that episode. But it does show you just how the world would be if this one piece of technology is implemented. It shows that for some people it works fine, for others it doesn't and they don't have it, and for the rest, it ruins their lives. The performance. This episode was carried by Toby Kebbell as Liam and Jodie Whittaker as his wife. This was the best casting that I think they could have possibly done. There are moments in the episode where you find yourself fully immersed within it, and that is down to their performances. Toby Kebbell was great at playing the type of character that you found yourself feeling sorry for and was rooting for the whole time, despite him turning to violence, because it feels as though it's something that any person out there would do. He was likable and you always felt like he was in the right, even when there was no solid evidence to back up his point, where it was just speculation, or speculation through the grain, which is something that I suppose the grain is supposed to wipe out. Anyway, the way that he portrayed emotion within the episode allowed you to feel what he was feeling. When he went to have a fight with Jonas, you felt angry. When he was suspicious about what was going on, you felt that. And then finally, when his life was crumbling around him, you felt the sadness and the emptiness and just how alone he was. Especially when he was walking through the house and having the flashbacks. You could feel the thoughts inside his mind as he was looking back on happier times. But then you feel exactly what anybody else would feel as he was pulling the grain out, that he wants to move on, and the flashbacks signify that right at the end. He is definitely one of the main factors of which makes this episode the best in the entire series. Although Jodie Whittaker isn't the character that you follow, the fact that she is Liam's spouse and is the one who cheats on him means that she is heavily in it. Her character is bad at lying, and Jodie plays it perfectly. Not for 1 second do you believe that she loves him and wants to be with him, and you always feel this uneasy, tense feeling when they're both in the same room together. Not once when they're in the same room are they both comfortable, and this was led by her performance. He is the one who reacts to her constant uneasiness, and it was a great way for the character to be. The performances in this episode were great, really great to watch. The technology. The grain is a piece of technology that stood out for me in the show. Why? Well, because it feels like this piece of tech could be invented next week and be worldwide within the next year. It didn't feel like the future. It felt like the present, with technology from the not so distant future. And I feel as though that was what made it all the more relatable. With the Google Glass and other smart glasses trying to achieve what the grain did in the episode, it shows that this might not actually be that far away. When you compare it to technology like Crocodile, for example, it feels more implemented within society, and it seems more appealing as there are different ways that this technology can be incorporated into your life. However, of course, the fact that it causes more problems than good is what is great about this episode. The way that at first it would seem appealing to have your eyes acting as a camera and is able to record everything. However, once it came to telling a lie or breaking the law, who knows how far it can be pushed, such as even looking at things on the internet. It can ruin your life. People would know who you truly are, and it is almost a look inside your mind. It's interesting because that's what Crocodile's technology was. However, I feel this episode would give you a better insight into somebody's mind compared to the technology in Crocodile. It's better, a lot better. Final thoughts. Overall, I would say that considering this episode was created in 2011, it has definitely stood the test of time, and if it were released today, it would be just as popular, if not more. The writing, the story, the performances, the technology, the visuals, the relatability, everything about this episode makes it an enjoyable watch, and that is what makes it the best. You go on a journey, a personal journey with the main character, and you watch his life fall apart due to the technology. Maybe it was a bad idea having the tech, who knows, but it saved him a lifetime of being lied to. What do you think of the episode The Entire History of You? Do you think that it's the best episode of Black Mirror? If no, what is? If you want to find out what I believe the worst episode of the show is, then click on the I button right now. So, as per usual, let me know what you think. leave a comment down below, and don't forget to subscribe. I'll see you next time.